Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Let's get started and look into our daily quiz. Let's look into the first question. Consider the following statements. Orangutans are the largest arboreal mammal. They are native to the rainforests of Indonesia and Malaysia. All three orangutan species are considered critically endangered. Which of the statements given above are correct? The answer to this is 1, 2 and 3. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Hindu makes a reference to orangutan smuggling, which is why we have taken this practice question. Let us try and understand what are these statements. When you look into the first statement, orangutans are the largest arboreal mammal. This statement happens to be the correct one. What is arboreal meaning? That means these are the species which are tree dwelling. So these are the species which live on the trees, which is why they are called as arboreal. So yes, orangutans are the largest arboreal mammal. So the first statement is right. When you look into the second statement, they are native to the rainforest of Indonesia and Malaysia. This happens to be a critically endangered species that are native to the rainforest of Malaysia and Indonesia. So the second and the third statements are right. When you look into the practice question, it says all three orangutan species are considered to be critically endangered. As part of the assignment, you have to put on the comment section which are these three species, where are they found. Please put it on the comment section. We know for the fact that all the three species are critically endangered in the IUCN Red List. But which are these species? Please put it on the comment section. So what does orangutan mean? It basically means man of the forest in the Malay language. So they feast on the wild fruits like lychees, mangosteens, figs, so on and so forth. And of late, their numbers are decreasing or dwindling primarily because of the threats posed by the human beings to these species. Human activities have gradually ensured that these species have declined over a period of time. Let's say, for example, because of poaching, habitat destruction, deforestation, illegal pet trade, and also smuggling. So this article currently goes on to say that because of smuggling, they have caught people. So smuggling also happens to be the threat that this species is facing. Now let's look into the next practice question. Kerala government has set up an expert committee chaired by Justice Thottathil B Radhakrishnan to assess at first hand the eco-sensitive zone or buffer zones in Kerala, study about Kerala's Silver Line rail project, understand the role of public sector undertakings in the development of the economy, monitor pollution of rivers in Kerala. Why was this Justice Thottathil B Radhakrishnan committee appointed by the Kerala government? The answer to this is assess at first hand the eco-sensitive zone or buffer zones in Kerala. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Hindu makes a reference to Thottathil B Radhakrishnan committee. What was this committee all about? This committee was appointed by the Kerala government. The committee also has many other members as well. We have the additional chief secretaries of the Environment and Local Self-Government Department, the principal secretary of the Forest Department, and former chief of the Forest Department. All these people are also part of this committee. So this happens to be a 5-member committee which will basically study the eco-sensitive zone as part of direct survey by Kerala. So what would they study? They would study the buffer zones. What would they study? They would study the eco-sensitive zones. In case there are any buildings, institutions, other construction, land utilization in the buffer zones, all of this will be conducted and ultimately a direct survey report will be given to the Kerala government. So the Kerala government is planning to use this particular report and ultimately show it to the Supreme Court of India that it has practical difficulties in implementing this creation of the buffer zones. Now let's look into the next practice question. Sabang Port, often seen in news, is part of which country? Japan, Indonesia, Myanmar, Philippines. The answer to this is Indonesia. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Hindu makes a reference to the Sabang Port. Sabang Port is part of Indonesia. If you look into this map, where is Sabang Port? It is at this particular point. So Sabang is also called by an other name, which is called as the Way Island, and this is located about 710 kilometers southeast of the Andaman Islands and less than 500 kilometers from the entrance of the strategic Malacca state. So we have the Malacca state which is also present. So this happens to be a strategically important position when it comes to the global geopolitics. Why is this port very important for India? Remember, when we speak about geopolitics of the world, we know for the fact that China happens to be a dominant country. It wants to interfere in all geopolitical positions, and at the same time, it also pushes its aggressive agenda to capture places as well. One such place that they always wish to capture was the Natuna Islands of Indonesia. So China has issues with Indonesia. China has issues with India as well. So how do we keep a check on China? So Indonesia and India have come together. So India would be making use of the Sabang port, where it will be given economic and military access to this particular port. So they want to keep a check on China at this point of Strait of Malacca. So remember, this Sabang port is very close to the Strait of Malacca. So if there is China which is planning to threaten any of these two countries, India and Indonesia would be able to keep a check on China's activities at this particular point. So Sabang port is the port where Indonesia has agreed to give economic and military access to the strategic island of Sabang in the past. So this is also in line with Act East policy of the government of India, which is why Sabang port is very important from the preliminary examination point of view. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following statements is correct with respect to Dekho Apna Desh scheme? It is a tourism campaign intended to boost domestic travel in India. It was launched by the Union Ministry of Culture. The scheme is intended to offer financial help to tourists traveling to different parts of India. Which of the statements are correct? The answer to this is 1 and 3 only. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference in the PIB article. Let us try and understand what are these statements. When you look into the first statement, yes, it is right. It is a tourism campaign intended to boost domestic travel in India. So the first part is right. The second part is wrong, primarily because it is not the Ministry of Culture, but instead it is the Ministry of Tourism. So the second statement is wrong. But when you look into the third statement, the scheme is intended to offer financial help to tourists traveling to different parts of India. This statement is right. So the scheme aims to promote tourism, encourage people in India, especially the middle class, to look at cultural heritage and diversity of India. Thereby, people would travel to this particular locality or the region or that particular area, and as they move, local economy will also grow as well. Under this scheme, the government will develop and promote a number of tourism destinations around India. To guarantee that Dekho Apna Desh scheme becomes a successful one, the government has also taken number of initiatives. What are these initiatives? It has established a special website. It has also provided a toll-free number as well, and it is also raising knowledge about this scheme by also starting a comprehensive PR and the marketing campaign as well. These are some of the important pointers with respect to Dekho Apna Desh. Now let's look into the next practice question. What was the purpose of Operation Sukoon, launched by the government of India? Helping Indonesia in its efforts to rehabilitate the victims of earthquake in that country, evacuating the Indian nationals from Lebanon during the conflict in the Middle East, assisting United Nations in its efforts to help the civil war victims in Darfur region of North Africa, providing a relief package to farmers after a spate of suicides by other farmers in Andhra Pradesh. What is this Operation Sukoon? This happens to be an evacuation program undertaken by India to bring back Indian nationals from Lebanon during the conflict in the Middle East. So remember, back in the year 2006, we had the Lebanon war. So it was an operation launched by the Indian Navy to evacuate Indian, Sri Lankan, Nepalese nationals as well as Lebanese nationals with Indian spouses from the conflict zone during the 2006 Lebanon war. Now let's look into the fact of the day. The fact of the day for today's discussion is section 153A. The section 153A is one of the sections of the Indian Penal Code. Let us try and understand what is this section all about. When we look into the bare act, it says promoting enmity between different groups on the grounds of religion, race, place of birth, residence, language, and doing acts prejudicial to the maintenance of harmony. Whoever, by words, either spoken or written, or by signs, or by visible representations or otherwise, promotes or attempts to promote on the grounds of religion, race, place of birth, residence, language, caste, community, or any other ground whatsoever, disharmony or feelings of enmity, hatred or ill will between different religious, racial, language, or regional groups or caste or harmony, commits any act which is prejudicial to the maintenance of harmony between different religious, racial, language, or regional groups, such people will be put up behind bars, and this can go up to 5 years and shall also be liable to fine as well. So what is this section all about? Let me simplify this process for you. Let's say, for example, there is a person. This person goes about speaking about a particular religion or a caste group or a race or about a language. So this person ignites passion in the society by his speech, or he might write an article in one of the newspaper outlets, or he is on the news channel. He makes a vague statement which can provoke people as well. So it is in this particular backdrop, if a person either he has spoken or he has shown signs with his hands, or he has written an article elsewhere, if it tends to disturb the social fabric, it tends to ignite passions within the society and also rake up issues between one community to another, one language and another, one race with another, such person will be booked under charges of section 153A of the Indian Penal Code. So such a person, if it is so decided and if he is so convicted by the court of law, then he can be imprisoned for as many as 5 years and shall also be liable for fine as well. So remember, when you look into the last word, it says shall also be liable to fine, and this means that it is compulsory for this person to pay the fine. If it was may, then it becomes the discretion of the court to impose the fine or not. But since the law clearly says that it is shall, it means the person will be put behind bars, and at the same time this person will also have to pay the fine as well. There is another important point here. Offenses committed in place of worship. What is place of worship? Place of worship is, let's say we have the temple, mosque, church, so on and so forth. So if a person is planning to use criminal force and is planning to perpetuate violence in that place, that is the place of worship, even then he is culpable under the law books. Added to it, it can also be the place of assembly. What is a place of assembly? Let's say people are celebrating one of the festival, let's say Ganesh Mahotsav, or let's say, for example, people have gathered in one of the regions from different religions. At this point where people have gathered together, large number of people are present. If there is a community, if there is a religion from a different point of view tries to invoke violence, that also falls under section 153A of the Indian Penal Code. That is all you have to know with respect to the Bare Act. However, there are some concerns with respect to section 153A. What is it? In 2020, 1804 cases were registered, 6 times higher than 323 cases in 2014. However, the conviction rate in 2020 was 20.02%, suggesting that the process often becomes the punishment. So this clearly points out that the rate of conviction under section 153A is very low. Added to it, let's say, for example, if a person has given one of the provocative speeches, this is what the political party may assume or a person may assume. So what will this person do? This person, a number of people with similar ideology, will start filing cases in multiple states in India. The police officers others will also start filing FIRs as well. Let's say the FIR is filed in the state of Madhya Pradesh. Let's say it is filed in the state of Karnataka. Let's say it is filed in the case of Assam as well. So there are multiple states where this FIR is filed. So what is that this person have to do? He can't go to all the states. So he has to move to the Supreme Court of India so that all these FIRs are clubbed into one single case, and this is being heard by the Supreme Court of India. But if a person has to go to Supreme Court of India, he has to employ a battalion of advocates, and this also means that it is a costly affair that this person will have to go through. So this is another concern. So in order to overcome this issue, what we require is the safeguards. So given that these provisions are worded broadly, there are safeguards that are present as well. That is, section 153A requires prior sanction from the government for initiating the prosecution. It is this that we have to understand with respect to this article. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.